You're listening to Full Circle Weekly News. These articles are compiled by Eric Young-Reddy. I'm your host, Moss Bliss. This is episode 380, covering week 33, August 12th to 18th, 2024. The W-curl utility is now recognized as an official curl project, but its development will be continued by the original maintainers in a repository independent of curl. In Debian testing, Debian Unstable, and Debian 12 backports, the W-curl utility is already supplied as part of the curl package. The W-curl utility is written in shell and is distributed under the curl license, which is a variant of the MIT license. W-curl is a wrapper over curl, which implements a simplified interface for downloading files reminiscent of the launch principle of the wget utility, and relieving the user of the need to remember specific parameters for launching curl. Unlike curl, W-curl allows you to specify multiple download links at once, automatically handles redirections, and retries downloads if failures occur. The announcement also mentions the Trurl utility, which was created by the author of curl last year, and complements curl with URL parsing and manipulation capabilities. Using the Trurl utility, you can quickly perform actions in scripts such as replacing the host name, pages, and individual parameters in a link, extracting a host and path from a link, converting a URL into a separate representation of elements in JSON formula. The Trurl code is written in C and Perl and is distributed under the curl license. Frigate 0.14 is available, providing tools for creating network video recorders that analyze video transmitted from IP surveillance cameras in real time, as well as detect and record changes and objects. For example, the system can save images of people passing by the camera. To identify objects, a machine learning model is used, executed on the local system without accessing external services. The platform code is written in Python and is distributed under the MIT license. OpenCV and TensorFlow are used to process images transmitted from the camera and identify objects. The system is optimized for minimal resource consumption and uses a multi-process model launch model. To reduce the load, object detection is performed only in conjunction with change and movement detection. Integration with various home automation systems that support the MQTT, Message Queuing Telemetry Transport Protocol, such as Home Assistant and OpenHAB, is possible. Control is carried out via a web interface, which can be integrated directly into the Home Assistant interface. Hyperland 0.42, a composite server using the Wayland protocol, has been published. The composite server is focused on tiling window layout, but also supports classic random placement of windows, grouping of windows in the form of tabs, pseudo-tiling mode, and full-screen windows. Elements for creating visually appealing interfaces are supported, such as gradients in window frames, blurs, animation effects, and shadows. Plugins can be connected to expand functionality, and socket-based IPC is provided for external operation control. The code is written in C++ and distributed under the BSD license. The new release is notable for completely getting rid of the connection to the WL-Roots library in favor of its own release of the Wayland protocol and the Aquamarine rendering library, which implements backends for Wayland, DRM, and working without a screen. The new version adds support for the explicit sync mechanism, which makes it possible to reduce latency, get rid of artifacts, and eliminate stutters when outputting graphics on systems with NVIDIA GPUs. Rebecca Black OS 2024-08-12 has been released, aimed at introducing the latest developments related to Wayland support in various desktop environments and applications. The distribution is built on Debian and includes fresh builds of the Wayland libraries cut from Master Branch, a Western composite server, and KDE GNOME Wayfire with Monte components, Sway, LXQT, and XFCE environments pre-configured to work on top of Wayland. The environment is selected through the Login Manager menu, and you can launch a shell from an already running environment in the form of a nested session. Tails 6.6, the Amnesiac Incognito Live system, has been created based on Debian 12, supplied with the GNOME 43 desktop and designed for anonymous access to a network. Anonymous access to Tails is provided by the Tor system. All connections other than traffic through the Tor network are blocked by the packet filter by default. Encryption is used to store user data saved between runs. An ISO image capable of working in live mode has been prepared for download. The new version updates Tor browser, Thunderbird, and firmware packages. They improve support for new graphics cards and wireless adapters, and you are allowed to enable multiple network interfaces simultaneously. The maximum waiting time before displaying an error when persistent storage cannot be unlocked has been increased to 4 minutes. They improved reliability of creating persistent storage when launching for the first time from a USB drive, as well as resolved an issue with connecting to the Tor network using the default set of bridge nodes. Minetest 5.9.0 has been published, a free cross-platform sandbox game engine that allows you to create games in the style of Minecraft, using voxel blocks for players to jointly form various structures and buildings that form a semblance of a virtual world. The gameplay provided by the engine is entirely dependent on a set of mods created in the Lua language. The engine is written in C++ using the 3D library ErlichtMT, a fork of Erlicht. The Minetest code is licensed under LGPL, and game assets are licensed under CC BY-SA 3.0. Ready-made builds are generated for various distributions of Linux, Android, FreeBSD, Windows, and Mac OS. Mesa 24.2.0, a release of the free implementation of the OpenGL and Vulkan API, was published. The first release of the Mesa 24.2.0 branch has an experimental status. A stable version, 24.2.1, will be released when ready. Mesa 24.2 supports the Vulkan 1.3 graphics API in ANV for Intel GPUs, RADV for AMD GPUs, NVK for NVIDIA GPUs, TU for Qualcomm GPUs, LavaPipe software rasterizer, emulator mode, and V3DV. Vulkan 1.0 support is implemented in the DZN driver, which is a Vulkan implementation on top of Direct3D 12. Mesa also provides full OpenGL 4.6 support for Iris, Intel Gen 8 Plus GPUs, Radeon SI AMD, Crocus, older Intel Gen 4 Gen 7 GPUs, Zinc, LLVM Pipe, Virgil, Freedreno drivers, D3D12, and Asahi. OpenGL 4.5 support is available for AMD and NVIDIA GPUs. OpenGL 3.3 support is present in the SoftPipe and NV50 drivers. The Debian project has announced the end of full-time support for the Debian 11 Bullseye distribution, which was released 3 years ago. Going forward, vulnerability updates for Debian 11 will be released through the Extended Support Program, which will last until August 31st, 2026. Regular support of the current Debian 12 branch will last until June 10th, 2026, after which LTS updates will be released for this branch until June 30th, 2028. The release of updates for the LTS branch is carried out by a separate group of developers, the LTS team, formed from enthusiasts and representatives of companies interested in the long-term delivery of updates for Debian. The LTS team will take over from the Debian security team and will continue to support Debian 11 without interruption. Updates will only be released for i386, AMD 64, ARM 64, and ARM HF architectures. Deepin 23 has been published, developing its own Deepin desktop environment, as well as about 40 user applications, including the DMusic music player, the DMovie video player, the DTalk messaging system, the installer, and the Deepin Software Center. The distribution repository includes more than 8,000 packages. All developments are distributed under the GPLv3 license. Images are provided for AMD 64, ARM 64, and Long Arch 64, and the team is in the process of preparing an assembly for RISC-V. Desktop components and applications are developed using the C and C++ and Go languages. The graphical interface is built using the Qt library. The key feature of the Deepin desktop is the panel, which supports multiple operating modes. The program launch interface provides 2 modes. In classic mode, open windows and applications offered for launch are more clearly separated, and the system tray area is displayed. Effective mode is somewhat reminiscent of Unity, mixing indicators of running programs, favorite applications, and control applets. The Undertale project is now open source, developing a fan interpretation of the game Undertale, which placed the previous story in the vastness of space. The game is cross-platform and is distributed in versions for Linux, Windows, Mac OS, and Android, as well as a web application for browsers. Scene data is stored in JSON files. The game engine is written in TypeScript and distributed under the ISC license. Standalone builds use the Electron framework. The free game engine Godot 4.3, suitable for creating 2D and 3D games, has been released. The engine supports an easy-to-learn game logic language, a graphical environment for game design, a one-click game deployment system, extensive animation and simulation capabilities for physical processes, a built-in debugger, and a system to identify performance bottlenecks. The code of the game engine, game design environment, and related development tools, the physics engine, sound server, 2D and 3D rendering backends, etc., are distributed under the MIT license. The engine was open-sourced in 2014 by ZeroCam. The engine supports all popular desktops and mobile platforms, as well as game developments for the web. Ready-to-run binaries have been created for Linux, Android, Windows, and Mac OS. Outwiker 3.3 for storing notes has been published. A special feature of the program is that notes are stored in the form of directories with text files. An arbitrary number of files can be attached to each note. The program allows you to write notes using various notations, HTML, Wiki, Markdown, if the plugin is installed. Also, by using plugins, you can add the ability to place formulas in LaTeX format on wiki pages and insert a block of code with colorized keywords for various programming languages. The program is written in Python, WX Python interface, distributed on the GPL v3 and available in builds for Linux, Snap and Flatpak, and Windows. The first stage of the Russian Open System Software Competition has started, OpenOS Challenge 2024, which is conducted by the community of developers of the Linux distribution OpenScaler, the company Sberbank Technologies, Sbertech, and the AN0 Center for the Development of Innovative Technologies, IT Planet. The competition is aimed at popularizing systems development and open source software. Participants will be offered tasks relating to programming, administering, and using the OpenScaler Linux distribution, compatible with Red Hat Enterprise Linux. The prize fund of the competition is 1 million rubles, with first place receiving 400,000 rubles. 5 winners will also have the ability to attend the Open Atom Developer Conference in China in December. Both professional engineers and programmers who actively use open source in their work, as well as amateurs, enthusiasts, and students at least 18 years old studying system programming and administration based on Linux, can participate in the competition. Registration for participation in the competition is open until September 22, 2024. The event period runs through October 27, 2024. LabWC 0.8.0, the Lab Wayland Compositor, has been published, a composite server for Wayland with capabilities reminiscent of the OpenBox window manager. The features of LabWC include minimalism, compact implementation, extensive customization options, and high performance. Animated effects, gradients, and icons, with the exception of window buttons, are not supported at all. The project code is written in C and is distributed under the GPL v2 license. The basis is the WL-Roots library, developed by the developers of the Sway user environment and providing basic functions for a composite manager based on Wayland. You can connect add-ons to implement functions such as creating screenshots, displaying wallpaper on the desktop, placing panels and menus. To run X11 applications in an environment based on the Wayland protocol, the use of the XWayland DDX component is supported. The theme, basic menu, and hotkeys are configured through configuration files in XML format. There is built-in support for high pixel density screens. In addition to the built-in root menu configured through the menu XML file, you can connect third-party application menu implementations such as bmenu, Fuzzle, and Wofi. You can use Waybar, SFWbar, Yambar, or Lava Launcher as a panel. To manage connecting monitors and changing their parameters, they suggest you use WLR-Randor or Kanshi. The screen is locked using Swaylock. MiniOS 3.3.4 is available, a lightweight modular live Linux distribution designed for use on removable USB drives and developed in Russia. The project was founded in 2009 and was initially based on Mandriva Linux, but after the liquidation of Mandriva, it switched to using Debian as a base. A special feature of the distribution is the ability to add or remove modules to create a live environment that meets your own needs. Fluxbox, LXQT, and XFCE are supported as custom shells. There are various ISO image options available for download. You've been listening to Full Circle Weekly News. For more details, see the next issue of the magazine at fullcirclemagazine.org or check the links in the show notes. You can contact me at bardmoss@pm.me. I'll see you next week.